is the Vsett 11 Plus Super 72, the biggest, fastest scooter from Vsett, and the first scooter we've tested to hit indicated speeds as high as 72 miles per hour during the top speed run. But did it really go that fast? We've got the real numbers tested with pro-grade equipment, plus what it's like to ride compared to 3 other popular beast scooters: the Wolf King GT Pro, Nami Bernie 2 Max, and Thunder 2. The Super 72 is an evolution of one of the very first dual-stem beast scooters, the 011X, that came out in 2019. Then came the Vsett 11 Plus in 2021, and now the Vsett 11 Plus Super 72, whose name derives from its 11-inch diameter tires and 72-volt battery, and not from its top speed. Both the voltage and battery size are exactly the same as the Wolf King GT Pro, and when we weighed them, they came out almost exactly the same too, at just over 125 pounds each. But when we rode it, the 72 has a lighter, sportier feel. It feels more like its 79-pound sibling, the Vsett 10 Plus, than like riding a Wolf King GT. There are a few reasons for that. One is it has dual hydraulic rear shocks, so it has plenty of damping to smooth out bumps. Also, it has a swing arm that's 20% longer for more suspension travel and 20% wider, and that makes it feel even more stable in corners. The handlebars also angle back further, and the grips have better palm support than just about anything we've tried, both of which made me feel more confident and connected to the scooter. When it comes to high-speed stability, we love dual-stem scooters, not because dual stems are stronger, single stems can be super strong, but because spreading the same amount of weight out wide gives the forks more inertia, making them more resistant to head shake, the same way ice skaters spin more slowly when they put their arms out wide. The Wolf King GT is pretty much the gold standard when it comes to high-speed stability, and the Super 72 is one of the only scooters that can match it. The 72 has tons of space on its silicone-covered deck, but adds even more room with a huge aluminum footrest and grippy silicone insert. The curved shape looks great, but I wish the footrest was flat from side to side so you could steer the scooter skateboard style when your rear foot is up. There's a reason you'll never see a skateboard with a convex deck. The overall ergonomics are great, except the throttle has the same finger split issue we experienced on the Vsett 10 Plus, but in the next section, we'll show you why that just doesn't matter anymore. Just as with the Vsett 10 Plus, the Super 72's build quality is among the very best, but there are some unusual details about this build that some people will like and some won't. First, there's a new optional display that we think is a must-have for all Vsett scooters. Ergonomics aside, the original display was hard to read in direct sunlight. The new optional display solves both problems with a huge bright screen and a new throttle that lets you put the trigger in a much more comfortable position, closer to the brake lug. It plugs right in, and once installed, you get to access all the same P settings on a much better looking display. You still have an NFC key, but now it unlocks at the top of the screen instead of at the voltmeter. The dedicated voltmeter on the right handlebar goes away, which was hard to read anyway, but you can still get a direct voltage readout from the dash. If you don't like NFC keys, you can also disable it. And if you ever lose all of your keys, we found a way to get back in without them, but we'll post that in our written review on our website. Now, here's the most unusual feature of the Super 72, is that the tires, these tires right here that say tubeless on the side, are in fact full of tubes. The upside is you get rims that split apart in the middle for easier tire changes. The downside is that unlike tubeless tires, tires with tubes are more prone to pinch flats if you run over a curb or pothole when your tire pressure is low. The tires are 4 inches wide according to the spec sheet, 3.5 inches wide according to the markings on the sidewall, but if you measure them, they're right in between at 3.7 inches wide. The headlight is absolutely outstanding off-road with the same brightness as our longtime favorite Wolf Warrior scooters, but work even better on-road because the Super 72 has a hard cutoff at the top of the beam, so you can aim the lights higher and further down the road without blinding oncoming drivers. Fender protection is also better than on the Wolf King GT, but unlike the King, the Super 72 has no IP rating for water resistance, so we don't recommend riding it in the rain. Something both of them have in common is you have to watch out for the side stands when pushing, because they will bite you. We recommend cutting off this section right here. The turn signal switches integrated right into the grips are some of the best we've seen, but the turn signals themselves might be the worst because you can't see them from the front or the back, only from the sides, which is just weird. It's also weird that we've been testing scooters for over 3 years now, and this is the first scooter we've tested that comes with rear view mirrors. They're small, and the curved surface makes the things behind you look absolutely tiny, so you'll still want to look over your shoulder before changing lanes, but they come in handy to check for flashing blue and red lights or to see if you've completely left your buddies behind, which is likely on a scooter this fast. Nice touch from Vsett is that the Super 72 comes standard with an accessory pouch that attaches to the forks, so you can bring your charger along or some tire sealant and a pump. If you order from Alien Rides, it also comes with a 2-year warranty, twice the warranty that you usually see on Vsett scooters. Plus, they have a huge repair shop on site at their SF retail store. Check out this video's description for a link to Alien Rides that supports this channel, and you'll find an ESG exclusive coupon code there too. There are 2 charging ports on top of the deck, and unlike the ones on the 10 Plus, they're flush mounted, so they don't get in the way of your feet. They're also a better protected design because the electrodes are female. This is especially important on a high voltage scooter. If you jam a metal tool into a conventional port, you can cause a lot of damage, but these ports are well protected from arcing, and their location means they also won't get damaged in a tip over. The Super 72 comes with 2 1.5 amp chargers, which means you can charge in as little as 12 hours, but it's typically going to take a lot less than that because it's rare to fully drain such a large battery. When it comes to turning all that power loose, the Super 72 gives you a couple ways to do it. At the left side of the bars, you'll find a lighted button for running dual or single motors, though I recommend riding in dual motor all the time except for the rain. Then there's the sport button. This boosts maximum output from 43 amps per motor to 51 amps for about 2 minutes and shows an S on the display to let you know it's on. It turns off automatically because just like nitrous, you can't leave it on all the time or the controllers are going to get too hot. We did 2 back-to-back top speed runs in opposite directions and saw indicated speeds as high as 72 miles per hour. But did it really go that fast? Our pro-grade tools say no. The ESG official top speed of the Super 72 turned out to be 54.9 miles per hour, which is still very fast. In fact, the Vsett exactly ties our tested top speed of the NAMI Bernie 2 Max. But it's easier to use the speed of the Super 72 because it's so stable. There was no speed wobble even when I let off the throttle at the end of the speed run. The Super 72 doesn't have an external damper, but our scooter definitely feels like it's got some damping built into the steering. On our range test course, I covered 47.4 miles on the Super 72 before it cut off. That's a half a mile less than the 32 amp hour NAMI and 7.6 miles less than the Wolf King GT. But the Super 72 has a trick up its sleeve. There's an optional 20 amp hour battery pack that should add another 27 miles for a total range of 74.5 miles. Speed comes on in the blink of an eye. The 72 just makes it into our top 10 of the quickest scooters we've ever tested. More importantly, let's just look at what 0 to 30 really feels like. That's all it takes. So you don't need to worry about keeping up with traffic, and like all Beast scooters, you don't need to worry about climbing hills either. It was slower than the comparisons up our test hill, but still made it to the top within 1 second of our fastest hill climber ever. Our Super 72 came with Zoom hydraulic brakes, though we've also seen examples with nut brakes. Braking performance was good, but could be even better with just a little more regen, so you need a firm pull on the levers to get maximum braking. Like all Beast scooters, the Super 72 is not very portable. The double dual stem latches mean it takes longer to fold than most scooters, but so does a Wolf King GT. But these aren't scooters that you fold very often anyway. If you crank the latches down, the stem stiffness feels very good, though not quite as solid as the King. Once folded, like most of its peers, the Super 72's stem doesn't latch down to the deck. On smaller scooters, this matters because you pick them up by the stem, but here the only reason it would be useful is to keep the stem from flopping around while you load it up. Unlike the Wolf King GT, the NAMI, and the previous generation V11 Plus, the Super 72 has bars that fold, but the improvement on portability is marginal on a scooter this large. Pros of the Super 72 include excellent suspension and handling, excellent stability at top speed, and one of the best headlights we've seen. Cons include long folding time, the new display isn't included, but at least it's not very expensive. And while we really like the color scheme, yellow and black isn't for everybody. For those of you who are comparison shopping, here are the 3 closest 72-volt competitors ESG has tested. The exotic NAMI Bernie 2 Max is 20 pounds lighter and has both the quickest 0 to 30 time and quickest hill climb times we've ever tested, but is the least stable at top speed. The famous Mini Motors Dualtron Thunder 2 has the longest tested range at 59.5 miles and the second fastest top speed of the group, but the least effective headlights by far, the lowest rider weight limit at 265 pounds, and the short stem height makes it the least comfortable on long rides. The iconic Wolf King GT Pro is less expensive and has a higher top speed, but the Super 72 has better suspension and the best handling of the group. And if you like trigger throttles and dual stems, the Super 72 is the only one of the comparison scooters that has both. When it comes to beast scooters, there's always something each one does best. So depending on your taste, it could be a fairly clear choice. The Wolf King GT is fastest, the Nami is quickest, and honestly, both of them have an edge when it comes to smooth power due to their sine wave controllers. But they both have a heavier feel when you're riding them. On the other hand, there's something decidedly sporty about the way the Super 72 handles. The trigger throttle feels directly connected to the motors, just like on the Thunder 2, but the Super 72 just rides like a lighter, sportier scooter than it is, and holds its own in every performance category there is. When you're spending this much money and hitting these sorts of speeds, we recommend sticking with the well-known brands for the sake of safety, reliability, and warranty support, and Vsett is one of the most established brands there is. Check this video's description for a link to the only place we know of in the US where you can get a Super 72 with 2 years of warranty included. If you've enjoyed this review even a little bit, we'd love it if you could give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss what's next.